Queen's Old Library contains around 30,000 volumes, consisting primarily of early printed books, which cover a wide range of subjects and reflect what has been studied at Queen's over the last 500 years. However, the books on the shelves are not just simple carriers of texts. If we look closely at the volumes as objects in themselves, we will discover the many ways in which they have been used, beautified, or defaced. Whether they reflect the hidden links between former owners, the dedication or distractions of past scholars, or the traumas of the Reformation, the volumes in Queen's Old Library all have distinctive stories to tell. People have left different types of traces in their books, and some of these practices are still very much in use nowadays. Some readers wrote their names on the title page to formally acknowledge their ownership of the books. David Hughes, Queen's Fellow and Vice President in the 18th century, bequeathed numerous books to the library. Most of them have been meticulously inscribed with his name annotate. Hughes bought some volumes second-hand, and some of them bear the inscription of previous owners, such as this one, owned by Jean Graverolles from Nîmes, France, a Protestant theologian who lived in London in the early 18th century. This copy of the works of Saint Cyprian also has a very interesting history of ownership. This volume was donated to the college by a fellow and bursar of Queen's, Thomas Yell, in 1562. The donation is recorded in an inscription written on a slip and framed on the front cover of the binding, protected behind a window made from cowhorn. It is worth noting the binder's reluctance to waste work and materials after omitting a letter. Below are the initials of Simon Haynes, Queen's president in the early 16th century, whose widow, Thomas Yell, married in 1561. For some scholars, simply reading a book wasn't enough. They needed to add marks or annotations alongside or within the printed text so they could internalize ideas and act on them. This remains true for some people to this day. Queen's volumes present a variety of scholarly annotations. In this note in Latin, Roger Ascham, private tutor to Elizabeth I, praised the work of the author Dionysius of Halicarnassus. Here is this book, which in my opinion is the sum of teaching, in great diligence and in most serious judgment, without which the Greek of Thucydides cannot rightly and easily be understood. In this Renaissance herbal by the renowned German physician Leonard Fuchs, we see scholars responding to one another. On this page, we see inscribed in an early hand the English name of a plant, daffodil, next to its printed illustration. A later hand has added the word aphrodil before a third hand, that of the 17th century Arabist William Bedwell, explained that the picture is of the wild lily Hemerocalis and not Asphodelus. However, not all the notes are necessarily related to the text. Indeed, the same herbal contains a to-do list regarding housekeeping. Blank spaces on the printed page or inside the cover of a book offered an ideal location for personal notes or even drawings at a time when paper was expensive. After the creation of the Church of England, Henry VIII and his advisors decided that it would be possible to retain traditional prayer books as long as certain references were obscured with ink or dust, such as in this Catholic missal. Following the royal proclamations, the owners of these books, or the local clergy, redacted all references to papal authority and to the martyr Thomas Becket, the archbishop who had defied Henry II over the matter of the government's authority over the church. Although the censored text provides evidence for the compliance of one owner, later additions also reflect the resistance to the proclamation. A marginal note added in the calendar records Mary Tudor's death, and the death, mere hours later, of the last Catholic Archbishop of Canterbury, Reginald Pole. The relative absence of color from illustrations and decorations in Queen's books reminds us of the library's primary purpose in the early modern times, to provide a working collection for college fellows. Where color is present in Queen's books, it is usually there to provide visual support, such as in this book on falconry published in 1567. The coloring could have been the work of a professional watercolorist or a skilled owner. Either would have been able to use the description of the birds to paint the illustrations with the appropriate colors. The preliminary work of the painter can be observed at the front of the volume, where he tried out his palette. This part of the book would have been covered later by pasting the front leaves against the inside board. However, in some instances, color has also been added in a more playful way. In this volume, one Tobias Parker, a former owner from the 18th century, painted lovely drawings on the blank pages, including this cherub and butterfly at the end, and a vase on the other side of the title page. The paintings contrast quite starkly with the printed content of the volume, a 17th century edition of Martin Luther's sermons. The volumes in Queen's Old Library do not only demonstrate what has been studied at Queen's, but also shine a light on how former owners engage with the books. By looking at the ways books have been annotated for the purposes of study, or how their blank pages have been used for personal expression, we gain a fascinating insight into the lives and thinking of their former readers.